Welcome to Ring the Bell, brought to you by the ASX and Bell Direct. My name's Jessica Amir. I'm a Senior Market Analyst with Bell Direct. Today we're joined by Helen Chong, who's a National Business Development Manager from the ASX. Helen, it's great to chat to you.
Thank you very much, Jess. Great to be here.
Today we're talking about investing in managed funds on the ASX, and you can buy and sell managed funds or mFunds just like you would a share, which is why they're picking up in popularity. And the mFund market is now $1.8 billion in value after growing 50% over the last year. So Helen, why are investors increasingly using listed managed funds on the ASX or mFunds?
Yeah, absolutely, Jess. Great question to start. So investors are increasingly using mFunds because it's a simple way to invest in managed funds, and it gives investors access to managers with years of experience and track record, which really hasn't always been the easiest for investors. So just to give you an idea, traditionally you'd have to fill in many pages of paper forms just to get into a single managed fund. And good news is that's not the case for mFund. There's no need to fill out any paper forms. And when we launched the service back in 2014, the idea really was to offer investors a convenient way to invest in managed funds. And by making these funds more accessible for investors, it's really encouraged more of the uptake of mFund. And asset classes, that are typically hard to access, like global fixed income and global equities, can now be bought and sold just like a share. And using mFund is really as easy as trading shares on the same platform that you use, right? So the same goes for managing all your transactions. Everything is in one place. So you've got your stocks, your ETFs, your mFund. It's all held under your holder identification number. So if you have an account with Bell Direct, you can easily buy mFund now. So I guess one more thing, interestingly, as of June this year, 60% of the flows coming into mFund are actually self-managed super funds. And these are traditionally huge users of direct shares, your ASX stocks, like big four banks and the mining stocks. So I really think that making managed funds and their offering more accessible for investors has really helped grow the service in just a few years.
And Helen, what have been the most popular mFunds over the last 12 months?
Yeah, so looking at the top 20 flows into mFund over the last 12 months, the most popular by far was in fixed income. So we've got the PIMCO Global Bond Fund. The code is PMF03. And I guess one of the reasons for its popularity is, the fixed income market is huge and it's complicated. So investors can really use an active manager like PIMCO for their expertise to invest into bonds. And PIMCO is one of the world's largest active fixed income manager. They've been around for 50 years and they've got a team of experts looking at this fund. And investing in an active bond fund can help you diversify and possibly bring down the volatility than just holding shares in your portfolio. I guess it all speaks to the importance of holding defensive assets in any diversified portfolio. Certainly, we saw this play out when share markets fell last year in March when COVID-19 hit. Those investors who held fixed income were generally able to cushion their returns. And then the other popular mFund that I wanted to share today, so we've got the Aussie Equities Benelong X20 Australian Equities Fund. The code is BAE03. Now, quite interestingly, the most popular mFunds, not your typical large cap Aussie equity funds, this one actually invests in the opportunities outside the top 20 stocks. And I guess this really goes to show that investors are now looking for outperformance beyond the top 20 stocks, whereas historically we know the average Aussie investor were attracted to the top 20 stocks in their portfolios. There's a huge focus on the big four banks, Telstra and mining stocks, and these make up almost half of the market. So increasingly, investors are looking to diversify outside of these stocks. To mention, Benelong is an award-winning fund manager, and so far the fund has consistently outperformed the benchmark as well over the last few years. And I guess next up we have global equities. So in global equity space, one of the most popular mFund is the Munro Global Growth Fund, and the code is MUN01. Just previously touching on the highly concentrated market here in Australia, but we're still a small market compared with the rest of the world. So this fund can be really attractive to those who are looking beyond the domestic market for returns and invest in big names like Amazon and Microsoft. And Munro Partners is another award-winning fund manager. And this type of mFund, you can use the team's expertise and have this sit alongside of your ASX investments so that everything is one place. You can see your shares, your ETFs, your mFund holdings. So Jess, these are some of the more popular funds that you can choose from on ASX.
Interesting. So the most bought mFund over the last 12 months was in fixed income, while Aussies are also using mFunds to diversify their investment portfolios. So why would an investor use an mFund over an ETF?
Now, look, it's a great question. And I suppose it's not so much one product over another. We don't want to be playing favorites here, but every product on the ASX can help an investor diversify in many different ways. And having said that, some active strategies like global equities and global fixed income, they're only really available on ASX using an mFund. So it does come down to our rules framework as it relates to the different product types. But certainly, we're seeing that some investors are holding both ETFs with an index tracking capability and then other products on ASX in their portfolio.
And I should also say to those listening or watching, Bell Direct clients are the most active in trading listed managed funds on the ASX via the mFund trading platform. Helen, what else do investors need to know when it comes to mFunds?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are currently 19 brokers who are connected to the mFund service. But of course, before you think about investing in mFund, it's very important to be aware that managed funds are exposed to different levels of risk, just like any other investment. So please read the fund's product disclosure statement and consider the risk, the fees, and also the investment strategy before you invest.
Helen, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you again, Jess.
And thank you for watching. You can find a list of all of the managed funds listed on the ASX on our platform. Head to Bell Direct, log in, and then under Quotes and News tab, head to Manage Funds.